Oh, did Grody leave? Grody leave?
Oh, wait. Hello?
Oh, hey, what's up?
I
Hi.
was trying to speak, but my mic wasn't working. Did Roblox update?
Maybe? I don't know. I hope not, because then that ends my stream.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're all okay now.
Whenever I opened
That's
it, it
good.
was
That's
just a
good.
weird opening. Are you in the
Probably
lobby, or are you still in the run?
no. I'm still on the run with
Okay,
Suki and
okay, okay.
with Suki and Stone
Okay,
and
okay.
the random Roger.
What floor?
Oh, we're on floor 7, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So who knows? We may or may not die soon.
Refresh
We shall see.
stream!
Refresh
Refresh the stream!
Imagine having to refresh stream because your stream crashed. It couldn't be me. Totally didn't have to restart my stream twice.
Yeah.
I would never.
Man, it was just like, it was so laggy though. I hope it's not gonna be too laggy, like, later. Do I
can always check Roblox's thing. Elma! Hi, Elma! Why is everyone calling me Salami now?
We always call you Salami.
When did I become Salami?
I don't know, like, probably like 6 months ago.
I don't think I was called Salami 6 months ago.
Meow, meow, meow.
Yes,
Hello.
okay.
Hello. Bonjour.
I guess I'm Salami.
Yeah, I think this might have worked a little
I'm doing
bit,
okay.
maybe.
How are you?
I gotta, like, change my tune back to Louis.
Rip.
Indecisive! Indecisive! Can you hear me? Indecisive, can you hear me? Okay, you can. Let's go do, like, a run just to test to see if the lag is still lagging. Okay, let's go.
Mostly good, except for the fact that it's hot as hell and I have to study. Oof. That sucks.
We're just gonna test something. It's probably gonna be like 1 or 2 floors just to see if we're like still lagging.
I can't help you with that, mate. I also have to study, but I'll do that later. Like, I also have to study, but I'll do that later. That's a later.
Okay, my computer is kind of lagging. Oh, someone else joined us.
Damn, yeah. Okay, well, Stone's gone.
They're inviting me.
Suki, Yumi, and me. Where is everyone? Broken Heart. Real. Sad days. Sad. It's okay, though. It's okay.
I have 5,666 ichor.
I have 235 tapes. Oh, Eclipse is here. 480 Eclipse, that's not bad. Maybe I can finish Eclipse today.
More like, can Louis actually diss during stream run?
Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna be for real. Can you?
I think restarting Goop first floor is wild.
No, actually, legit. That's crazy.
I got no clue who else is here though.
Eclipse died. Suki died.
Oh, Shrimpo.
Oh, hey, look, another meow.
Okay, it doesn't look like I'm lagging. That's a lot better. That is a lot better. So I'm just gonna go ahead and probably then, like... Hi there.
Don't you dare see me. Oh, fuck's sake.
It works.
It works. Lying and saying that was not me.
Okay, restarting definitely worked. Although I think I just killed... I killed Indecisive. Dude, they have both gripped the brick and coal.
That one is crazy. All I hear is...
Astro with brick and coal. Top tier trinkets.
Ow. I don't have the stamina. I mean, I do, but I
think
don't.
Eclipse just saved Indecisive.
Ow.
There we go. We can go back to the lobby now. Okay, that works. That definitely works more now. So now we know.
I gotta look
it
for
works.
my. I gotta look for my Eclipse research, man.
You gotta look for your Eclipse research.
Yeah, Roger died. Oh, okay, I found it. I can die a happy man. Oh, Eclipse!
By the way, chat, my joins are in fact on. I don't know why
mine
earlier,
too.
like...
Oh.
We're literally playing together. What do you mean mine are too?
Mine are too. Mine is too. Smile.
You needed that
face.
research?
I did need that research. We all need research.
Research.
Dude, Eclipse never shows up for me. How much do I have on you? Oh, hey, I finally completed Eclipse.
Oh, hey.
Let's go. Nice. No, I
the
don't
only the only Twisteds that I don't have research are Bassie at 24%, Coco at 17%, Ginger at 6%, but wait. Flight 96%.
That's sad.
I was one encounter away from like getting him.
His trinket's not even that good.
Oof. Rudy 23%.
Hold on, let me see his trinket. It's a stealth trinket, by the way.
And I didn't even get Cole or Bobette. Like, I haven't even seen Cole or Bobette.
Yeah. Flight's, Flight? You said you had 96 on Flight, right?
Yeah.
Scrapbook reduces your stealth by 5%.
98%. Reduces your stealth?
Yeah, it reduces your stealth by 5%.
And
if you want, like, questions on any of the trinkets?
Increase it. Honestly, I feel like I feel like Flights should, do it by, like, 25%, like how, Flutters is.
Highlights all other teammates' locations for 3 seconds for the user after any user completes the machine. Oh.
You're thinking about being Flutter, but you're also lagging? Oof. Oof. Is this everybody that was wanting to join? There's 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think my mom's home, so I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go AFK real quick.
Okay.
I would say entertain my stream, but they can't hear you.
I'll entertain it this way. Chat, we gotta entertain their stream. I don't know if they can see... Wait, let me check to see if they can see us. Hell yeah, they can. They can. They can. I'm gonna text in their chat. Be entertained. Fuck, that didn't work. Be entertained by us. Entertainment. Entertainment. This is like, wait, no. Right here. It's right here, like where they can see. Actually, I can like...
Okay, I'm back. My
Welcome
mom and my family is not home. I thought they were.
Oh. This is the best camera angle for you motherfucker. You changed it.
Oh, sorry. Yours is better.
Motherfucker, you changed it. I can't
better.
believe you.
Here, let me just... This is better.
We gotta have the angle like the forehead, like the 0.5 photos.
I can't do that.
Is everybody... I think we're missing... I think we're missing like 2 people. I think they're checking their lag.
Yeah, I gotta change my tune real quick.
Yeah, Stone's testing their lag. Yeah, Stone is testing her lag.
That adds up. Who do I want to be? I don't know who I want to be.
We're just waiting on Stone now. Do y'all want to put on a play? Y'all want to put on a play outside? Like, you guys can put on a play like this. It's the stream plays. We gotta have another stream play go on. We got Shrimpo and Gordy in scene. We got Shrimpo taking up- we got Shrimpo and Gordy taking up the entire scene.
Why would work?
Shrimpo is currently punching the camera. Flutter enter. Flutter and Sylvester enter. Flutter says, "I'm lagging and not lagging at the same time." Insert Louie and Rudy sitting there at the very back. Insert Blot. He's doing things.
He's doing things. Look at this is a weird play.
Insert Shrimpo punching again. Shrimpo is like really close and
you got the weirdest play
to the camera.
I think I might have to hop off. I'm not doing well no more.
Oh no. R&D is in the camera now.
Sad.
That's really sad, man.
Dude, I'm gonna suffering, I swear to God.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's alright, I guess.
What if I just
Can't be helped sometimes.
Right.
Like, can be helped sometimes, so it's whatever.
Yeah. I hope you get to feeling
I already
better.
know who I'm rating out to.
You already know who you're rating out to?
I wonder.
I wonder. All I see is just Shrimpo. Oh? It's Shrimpo and V.
It's Shrimpo and
It's
V.
just Shrimpo, like, staring deeply into the camera and I saw Goob. I see a goober.
That one's what?
I see a goober.
Alright. I'm gonna have to end stream. And then
Alright.
I'm just gonna go and relax.
Get to feeling better.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Let's circle. Yo, thank you for the raid. I wonder who raided me. I forgot how loud it was.
Raided.
Oh my gosh. It's the FBI open up sound and it's like loud. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Dude, my stream didn't even take me to your stream.
Oh.
It just kind of left me there.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go now.
Alright, bye-bye. Get to feeling better.
Bye.
You got this.
I'll try.
You got this.
Ugh. A month of suffering and I still have to wait another 3 months.
Oh no.
Alright, see you, mate.
See you later. Oh gosh, they're all three Shrimpo. Oh gosh. Why are they Shrimpo? Why are all y'all Shrimpo? That's concerning. Can we have like an actual run? Best Shrimpos in the zone with the trinkets. Oh gosh, we are the Shrimpoliings. Please feed us. I'm scared. I'm very scared. Something is fishy. What do you need tapes for? Yeah, I think that's gotta be the worst Louis skin. I'm not gonna lie. That has gotta be the worst. It's the worst one. I don't like it. I really don't like that. Should we try like an actual like run with like the healers and then like the recipe Shelly, I guess? I feel like that would be pretty nice. Oh gosh, healer run? That's scary. Just be like, just What skins do I have for him anyways? Oh. Oh yeah, I have the start time. I forgot about that. I literally forgot about that. Healer run, guys. Healer run. Let's do a healer run. Come on, guys. Healers. Healers. I am surrounded by Cosmos and Gingers. Let's go to the Sproutivator since he's the healer. There's just so many. It's all healers at this point, and so it's like... What is Cosmo... What are... Wait, no. Wait, I know Cosmo's stealth is 4. What is Ginger's stealth, though? Is it 3 or 4? Ginger's, what are your... Oh, it's 4? Okay, okay. Alright. It's 3. Wait, what? I was like, wait, what? Which one is it? What happened to my brain? I don't know. I will be the pro distractor Cosmo. Oh gosh. We got the Cosmo with the Gordy trinket. Hell yeah. I guess I will be in charge of like healing who doesn't heal each other. I can take grabbers if needed. Alright. I think I got, like, Goob and Scraps, especially. I don't know about Pebble, though. Because I'm not used to distracting as, like, Sprout. I'm not used to distracting as Sprout, I'm not gonna lie. Come on, Brusha. Where'd you go? Come on. Get back over here. Oh shit, yeah, I gotta get, like, the tapes and everything. I gotta, like... I gotta eat tapes, I gotta eat all the candy. Because I'm Sprout. Brusha likes me, oh gosh. I'm, like, looking around for some of the tapes. Dead from the neck up, but living just enough. We die. I can drink your blood if you let me, baby. You have your love until you hate me. See a tape in there. Get in the elevator! There we go. Get in. Get in the elevator. Get in the elevator. I'm like, get in! We're all here! You sadly bought shrimp sticker? Oh gosh. Wow. This is just a wild... Ow, I just like banged my fingernails right on the desk like that. That was not pleasant. Hug time, you're not Goob. You're not Goob. I like that all the Cosmos have different... Wait, everybody has a different skin. Oh my gosh, I just noticed that. Prove to me, baby. In my veins, these instincts I've met needed to abstain thee. Oh, so, oh, please, I can drink your blood if you let me, baby. Drain you of your love until you hate me. I will drink your blood until your lips turn blue. I can't fucking sing right now. I need to get the other twisted. Do you got him? Are they over there? Who else is here? Where are they? Where are they? Get over here, Boxton. Hold up, guys. I need to get the stuff on the floor. I need to eat all the floor candy. I think I got all the... Ow. Oh gosh, we got the healers healing each other. Thank you. We got all the healers healing each other. Got all the, like... I got the candy. I ended up getting the candy. I am do-me-D-Y. Not me. Why? Not me. Do-me-D-Y. Not me. Why? Not me. Do me. Not me. Why? Not me. Why do I have, oh, I was like, why do I have so much stamina? Oh my gosh, I'm distracting Twisted Cosmo, guys. Machine, oh gosh. You had an air horn? Who had the air horn? Who got an air horn? Who got the air horn? We don't have a Twisted Cosmo. Was it you? Hey, there's a band-aid here. Bandage here. I'm light, everyone sees you. I just wanna be you. Just the... This is a wild run. There's a thief. Yo, you motherfucker! You asshole, you asshole, you asshole, you asshole. You took my goddamn band-aid, you asshole. Well, if you're gonna take my band-aid, might as well just let me get the tapes out of the other one. Come on, Yada. We gotta go grab tapes. I got it. I am poor now. I don't have any items except for the items that I, like, decide to pick up on the way. I'm gonna be careful with that one. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I never wanted to sleep, oh I can't. Momentum mori leaves a debt. You haven't paid it yet. I never wanted to sleep. Is that where there's some items? Oh, there's some tape. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? I was looking at the wrong Cosmos. How could you? I saw you. You took that shit right in front of me. That was right in front of me. Oh my gosh, we have all the... Oh my gosh, we have all the healers healing each other. Oop. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Filling up my coffee cup. One way. Oh shit, that's a jumper cable. Ow. Hey. Thank you. Oh my gosh, all the Cosmos healing each other. Every time I like turned around, all you heard was like the healing sounds. Any more items that I can pick up and be greedy with? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. All I hear is the... Where? Over here, or... I forgot who is who. Oh, over there. I'm like, all I see is hearts. Oh wait, there are some tapes right here too. Oh, I missed a pumpkin. We got the Cosmo with the Gordy trinket, we got the Cosmo with the mime makeup, we got the Cosmo with the thinking cap, we got the Ginger with the mag and bow tie, we got the bow tie and vanity mirror combo, we got all these Cosmos. We got all these Cosmos and Gingers. Have a 0 floor streak of not healing me. We just all it takes is one person getting hurt, and then suddenly all you hear bloop 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 bloop. That's all you hear. I'm fine. I got a little greedy there. Come on, Deegan. I'm scared if you hit me, though. Bach? Okay, it's right there. Are there any other items that I can take so it's not in my first inventory spot? There are. Wait, where's the Bach? Where's the box of chocolate? Oh, there it is. Today, where new is reborn. Each day, I keep forgetting that was Roger! I already opened him once! Whoopsies! I'm just greedy for these. I'm like, I've eaten like every single item. That streak is now 1. Thank you, my bot. The 1 floor streak, congratulations. How many tapes would it be if... Already? Have new friends come to play? Oh my gosh, there's so many Cosmos. Every other... Oh, wait. What's the way to just be? I'll avoid the items and I'll just take the tapes. Oh, oh. Confident. 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 Where is he? Where is Gordy? Where is Gordy? The long hallway? Okay. Well, he's... get to the elevator. Yeah, y'all gotta get to the elevator. Reboot as soon as I am able. Every other day I'm wondering what's the use gotta be like. I'm wondering. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on. These human instincts ruin my life. So wait. Who are you in the run? I just realized that, wait. Because I think Indecisive is Bucky. Which one of you guys are absent fluid? I just realized that. Oh my gosh, there's another. Oh, wait, you're not in the run. Oh wait, no, it's just saying, it's not saying the display run names. It's not saying those names. It's just saying these. Okay. Oh, Brightney. Get your ass over here, I swear. Oh shit. Oh shit. I ate a stealth candy, I'm so sorry. My heart was stolen by a blind pickpocket in the deep city streets in the summer of 2012, and I never even saw her face. My soul... I'm on my way. It's me who was to blame. My TSM, 'cause I need to remember my place. This is not enough. I just took a stealth candy. Watch out. enough. This is not enough to prove it yet. No, I need to hit the bottom. Wow, 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 wow. Gotta get to the bottom of this. Gotta get to the bottom of this. There's where the tapes are. How many things of tapes are on the floor anyway? Got my molars and putting them in my face. Oh, hey, there's where the pumpkin is. Thank you. You have a 0 floor streak. I'm getting hit in panic mode. No, we need medical attention. Even though all of us are like basically at full. Oh my gosh. More than that came from around. Oh, Scraps is here! Guys, watch out. Scraps is here. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, no. Owie. Thank you. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ow. Thank you. Okay. There's a box of chocolates. I don't want to get smited by Scraps. Yeah. I really don't want to get smited by Scraps, unfortunately. Alright. Who are you sniffing? That That's concerning. Boxton, Rebecca, get over here. You. I'm trapped. See how so. Oh shit, 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 shit. Oh, I see that, I see that. Yeah. Let me grab another item so it's not gonna be my first slot real quick. Ow. Ah. 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 That's not the right button. Just panic. See how I fly away. I see gumballs over there. I also see a lot of things over there too. Ooh, there's a speed candy there too. Oink. There's some tapes right there. There is like a machine that's right there, by the way. It's like right there. Right here inside of the mansion. Dang, I have to use it 50 times? Ugh. Already done the item picking up with. Survived 30 floors with Cosmo in your round. Yeah, we're really gonna get that. We're 2 floors away from getting that. We're really gonna get that. Like, this stream, we're gonna get it. Born into... it's the source of you. In your head, in your head, in your head, and yeah, it's true. Will you do? Trust in yourself or anyone else. We've always all been wrong. Please hold strong. Even I might not find. Gambling. You're back and ready to distract GG. Oh geez. Break new ground, you dig. Dang, y'all just want... Oh, you can't gamble? Man. You can break a shovel when you break new ground. You dig dirt up when you dig deep down. You should know better than that by now. It's not profound to know. Rebecca, Boxton, and I think that was Connie. There's a band over here, though. One of y'all can take it. All you reject is just to protect you from... Where's my other twisted, by the way? Oh, there's my other twisted. You get your ass over here. Get to the bottom of this. Gotta get to the bottom of this. Ooh, if you're lagging. Ouch. There's those. What is what people? You can take them to me. Bound to know that you could break a shovel when you break new ground. Dig dirt up when you dig deep down. You should know better than that by now. It's not pro. That's in the lore room. That's gonna be a very, very tight turnaround. There we go. It's good enough for me. I'm on my way, I'm on my way. See stealth candy over there too. Oh, time, religion. 6-7. Oh my gosh, guys, 6-7. Time, religion, that's good. Damn it. Guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's the Cosmos healing Cosmos again. Oh, 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 oh. I missed one item. Well, you can say I'm plastered, 'cause I hit the wall. Well, half my mastery's done. It's just the traveling, surviving, and using this tune's active ability. Also, RIP that band. Ooh, I need a friend, never mind, I'm drunk. Well, we've had enough power since the blackout started for an EKG for the broken-hearted. I try to see the glass as half full, but I'd probably just drink that too. Glass half full, I'd probably just drink that too. Sorry if I slur. Anxiety with my sobriety, I killed 2 birds with 1 stoner. So if you see me, please take my keys. I don't wanna be an organ donor. Oh shit, there's 4? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Who is it? Who is it? Get over here, Tisha. Well, I'm going down and I'm taking you with me, yeah. I'm bringing the water to the horse. Oh shit, my phone's at 10%. Slay! Dog that bit me, yeah. So I can clone it in. Have a little more. Yummy distracting. Ooh! 6-7 again, holy shit. Well, we've had enough power since the blackout started. 1 kg for the broken-hearted. I try to see the glass as half full, even when I'm empty, half full. I try to see the glass as half full, but I probably just... Oh. I was out of stamina there. Money. Hides in the corner. Oh gosh. Guys, stop healing stone. Please. There's Brusha. I don't think so. Thank you. Shit. Because we had 6, and we've got 6 still. The hand with the medicine man of wild coyotes. Whoa, I, my eyes, subject action. I was like, which one's stone? I'm gonna go ahead and get the bop and just drink it immediately so that I can have more inventory space. Because I need at least 1 slot open, but where is the bop? I'm coming. This is like skill check training. Where's the bob? Oh, there it is. I did not pick that up. Let me grab it real quick. You took it! You took the bob! You took the oh my gosh. You took the bob! We gotta all hide in the corner. Spare me. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Things happen. Oh, they did it. They did it. Oh shit, I am so sorry. Gosh. Okay. Who else is here? They got Boxton, Rebecca, Louie. And then there's Connie. Where? Oh, my ability's on cooldown. Oh, did you open up Connie? No, not the opening up Connie. I feel like a Louie in a public run. Oh gosh. Oh! Oh, not her. I'm going to cry. Guys, Gordy's trinket works if you're missing a heart. Oh, so there was only 4 this floor. There wasn't 5. You lied. Did we save the last for the closest? Like, the closest for the last? Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Watch it be the farthest machine. It's right here. Y'all need to start, like, actually saving the closest for the last. Hi! Hello, Lily as artist. Hello. Welcome in. I feel like us no-tape healers are the dogs guiding the blind. I'm getting harassed with heels. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, hey, Connie's in here. Are they still healing y'all? Are they still healing you, Stone? Are they bullying you? Go, Ginger, go. Had to activate Connie twice. Order! Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Get the broom. Bro's gonna be like, back off, back off. Wait, actually, I still have this for some reason. Back off, back off. It just like breaks it and then like. Oh, Gordy's here. I cannot see a thing. I need to find Louie, Rebecca. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Shrimpo. I'll go ahead and ignore oh shit. Oh hey, there's a medkit right here. I think that's someone. Oh my gosh, I cannot see. Oh shit. Thank you. You know what? I'm giving this to Gordy because this also like drastically reduces stealth. There we go. Where's the other Twisted? I do not know. Someone saw me though. Was that Rebecca? Please put me under. I don't know where Rebecca is. Just letting y'all know. Fuck, I cannot see a thing! You know what? This light glitch is actually horrible. I cannot see a thing. Doesn't start. Where do you get off? I lost Louie. Fuck! I literally have Louie. I didn't lose him. I literally have him. Can you heal me? Thank you. It's an effective trade-off. Because your streamer cannot see because they have the light glitch. And they're like, oh, people are like, oh, just turn up your graphic quality. Like, it's gonna work. Okay, get to the elevator. Yeah, y'all all need to get to the elevator. Because I won't be here to save you. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot. Everybody, you guys gotta thank Ko-Fi Bot. What was that one tape that I saw? There it is. You gotta risk it. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. You need that research. Don't do it. You gotta go to Suni. Oh. Where's the last two machines? Is there a primed one up here? Please tell me there was a okay, there is one that's like really close. But where's the other one? At least you got to encounter Gordy twice. Yeah. Yippee! Yippee! Okay, get to the elevator. Shit. We lost both our gingers! No! Here's a band-aid. Dang, we lost our gingers. That is sad. That is actually sad. This is why we don't risk it, guys. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, Cosmo, Rebecca, and they're saying Goob. Of course it's gotta be Goob. Just focus on bringing them to me. Thank you. Shit. Why is Goob been taken? Why did you just take Goob? Can you bring him back so I don't get pulled immediately? Also, I need a heal because I'm back at 1. Thank you. Shit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, you don't. 8, 9, 10. No, you don't. Eight, 9, 10. No, you don't. No. Back up. Back up. Back your ass up. Back your ass up. You're gonna kill somebody else. Dude, you're literally gonna end up hurting someone else. Wait until panic. Six, 7 anyways. Hi. Hello. Six, 7. Sorry about not talking too much right now. I usually count when I have goob and I need to keep track. Speaking of counting, I just lost count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Don't, no! Oh. Oh, yeah. They had to go. Yeah, hi. No, I wanna go gambling this time. I really wanna go gambling. Y'all should gamble. Y'all gotta be gamblers with me. Yes! Gotta pop. Pop. Okay, who is here? I see Shrimpo. I see ankle biter, ankle biter. Fuck. Oh shit, oh shit. Thank you. Fuck. Okay. I need to gather stamina a little bit. Hey, hey, why don't you? Yeah. We got the ankle biter, unfortunately. Lonely. Take me to the other side. Oh shit, I'm only at 1 heart. I'm still at 1 heart. Hold up. Okay, Finn, what the fuck? The way that both of y'all just ran. Thank you. The way that the two of y'all just ran. My phone is at 6%. Oh no, it's at 5. It's at 5. Slay! I need to plug it in. And I'll play with you. Don't you come play with me. I'll take me to the other side. Other side. Be so lonely. To the other side. Be so lonely. Shit. Look. Thank you. Watch out. There is a rabbit child on the loose. Got a little bit too greedy there. Finn! Finn, get your ass back over here! I have this little thing. This is probably just a thing. 2 girls I like a lot. I think they're really hot. My love began to grow. We're just trying to preserve stamina now. Mural of the things I'd like to love. Heart resides with 2 girls with great eyes. You motherfucker. Get back over here. Ooh, ooh. Mary, Kate, and Ashley, I hope you understand that I love you a lot and I wanna be your man. And I think that it'd be totally cool if I hung around in your party and all in your school. I saw you on TV. You dressed up like a bee. Reminds me of the time. How it's gone and it's gone and it's gone. You are a greedy little tape, like, monster. Oh, there's an air horn too. Man. Man. Come on. And I think that it'd be totally cool if I hung around your apartments and enrolled in your school. I'm gonna quickly plug in my phone real quick. Kate and Ashley, I hope you understand. Rebecca, get over here. Yeah, this is the worst floor. I hate this floor. I'm gonna grab that, though. Well, I gotta... I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. You would be sad. Hi. You wanna trade? There you go. Understand. Oh, hey, there's a Cosmo here. I got Rebecca, Shrimpo, Cosmo. Get your ass over here. Okay, I got 4. I think there should be a 5th one. maybe? Shrimpa, Rebecca, Cosmo, Yada. Don't mind me. It's so funny doing that part. So that means that we only have like 4 then, right? We don't have 5 yet. So 3 people alive, there's only there's only 4 twisteds. Since the day that I died. While I whittle my bones until I'm brittle, am I pretty now? For some reason I find myself lost in what you think of me and too confused to choose who I should be. I am halfway through and I cracked the code to skill checks on the normal machines. Yo. Let's go. I need to add back the thing where when people follow or like gift subs and whatnot, like the emojis just go everywhere. I feel like that would be really fun to do again. Although I feel like it would just break my computer. I also need to like add more channel point things. Like, what if I add like a thing where for a minute I just say like stuff in Pig Latin? Because I kind of know the code of doing Pig Latin. Like, you just take the first letter, you move it you move it to the end of the word, and then you put like AY at the end. So Pig Latin would be Igpe Atenle. Esye. Esye, S-A-Y. Ose. Rimpose is a Ikde. Oh hey, oh nay. I us J and Ray into a alway. Uring day Anik pay ode may. Auklet K. Ig pay Atley. Give me that. I wish I could be a girl. I need to find Yada. Get your ass over here. And Rebecca, get your ass over here too. Okay, now we have 5. I would give you my whole world. Hey, wait a minute. There's 2 heals. Oh? Okay, since I got the kind of easier twisteds, besides Shrimpo, because he's slower, I can technically go and take some of these. I need to do like a little I need to do like a little raid message thing. Like have it be like a every time I get a raid, like kind of like how Bagel My Ego does it. We were playing last night and they got a couple raids, and they actually did a 10-hour stream. So after my stream, I literally raided them, and I was like, you know, I should, you know, join, because they were playing Dandy's World. And they looked like their team looked like they needed a distractor, and I'm like, I'm a good distractor, you know. And so I was distracting, and I think I was like, I think I joined in when they were at hour 6, I believe, and they ended up doing like they ended up streaming until about 10, and so I was just like in the VC, playing with them. I need to like add in the thing where if someone joins in on a Discord call, like their thingy shows up, I guess. That'd be pretty fun. But I think I know what my whatchamacallit. Hold on, another sneeze. Is there gonna be another one? I think there might be. Thank you. I think I'm done sneezing. I thought that was Twisted Cosmo. I was like, do we have 6? What? Damn, I just realized I turn 20 next year. That's wild. I'll be here for like 2 decades. Oh. How could you? I think this is the second time I've gotten to floor 20, while distracting as Cosmo, by the way. While distracting as Sprout, by the way. How about that, huh? I'm gonna eat you, Suki? Oh gosh. I remember one of the runs that I did a while ago. It was almost a year ago now, but I was literally distracting on this floor, and I had Sprout and a couple other the harder twisteds to deal with. Not harder, easier twisteds to deal with, and what the hell? And this dude literally went AFK at least for 15 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And, afterwards, literally the next floor, they were like, oh, I got to go. I literally crashed the fuck out. Both me and, the other people were like, are you fucking kidding me? We were all like, dude, oh my gosh. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that from? When? When did we have an air horn for sale? Oh wait. It was earlier. I was debating on whether or not to get it. Oh shit, we're at floor 20. Ugh. Ugh. Shit, god damn it. Fuck you, Finn. Sprout's here. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm getting so many tapes. I'm just hearing all of these sounds. Okay. So we got 5 still, it looks like. Ooh. Ooh, my lag. Ooh, my lag. Oh my god, why is my ping 700? Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Bro, why did my ping get that much? That is wild. I was like, why is my sprint not working? Huh, I wonder why. I wonder why. Imagine that. I look up and my ping was like 700. I didn't lose a heart from that though. Surprisingly. Got an automobile for a minimum wage. By the way, for Gordy to be fed, there is for Gordy. That's a weird way to say that. There's a chocolate bar like right where the metal grates are, over on that side where I'm like heading. So they're like right here. Also where that machine is. Send you my love unaware. Every time. There's also a machine right by there as well, where those chocolates are. Ooh, can I go on? Take a ride from anyone. Everyone wants to run and goes away. Ooh, from you. Man, I need to become a full-time streamer one day. I really need to. Yeah, there's one machine like right here, by the way. Will I am home. That sounds like you're saying, like, you're home to, like, what? Willwood, I am home. I think Gordy needs, like, one more item to be fed to him. So that chocolate bar. Because he is kind of in the red right now. He is in the red. Okay, panic mordworm. Okay. Never mind, I am running. I am running, but I cannot see. Okay. Boop. There we go. Yippee! Oh gosh. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it. While you have mind makeup, they don't. They don't have. It's probably because, for some reason something went wrong. Like, my ping went up to 700. Oh my gosh, it's Sprout again. Oh my gosh, I have to distract myself for like the 3rd time in a row. More like second, but I am not grabbing him from that room. Get your ass back over here. This whole song about you, and not about me, and not about me. Not delirious. I'm on my way, I'm on my way. Yada. Okay. She was using hacks. I need to find Boxton still. So just beware of Boxton. Oh, he's right there. He's kind of coming towards you, so be careful. You little shit. Get your ass back over here. Hold up. Watch out. Sprout! Sprout! Sprout, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. Thank you, GoFibot. Okay. We are going to be doing our usual going around this entire area this way. He'll spit on the loose like you guys can hear me. You guys gotta thank Ko-Fi-Bot. You know that, right? You still want me, call me, find me in my coffin if you need me. There's a pair of jumper cables in that room, by the way. They're right there in that room. Hell for you. So if anybody needs me, I'll be in my coffin. Back from the dead for you. Oh my gosh, I remember last time the first time I ever distracted a Sprout was whenever I didn't even have, I did not have any distracting trinkets. I think I had, V-Mote and, something else, but I had no distracting trinkets. If you need me, I'll be in my coffin. Oh, you could come and knock in. 69. V-Mote and dog plush? Oh. Oh yeah, you were in that run. Okay, I'll switch up to doing the long way. Back from the dead for you. Chop the style of my mistakes. Stop the world and melt with me. Friday I'm in love again. If you still want me, call me, find me in my coffin. On my hands will dance. There should be one more machine, guys. Those two are the closest to the elevator. It's an option. Don't let the latest be the last name in your coffin. If you need me, I'll be in my coffin. You could come and knock, and I'll raise hell for you. Oh, if you need me, I'll be in my coffin. I'll be up today walking. Boo. Ah! For you. Okay. Yippee! I'll admit, I'm a bit nervous. Oh hey, there's medkit. So funny, watch the heels just appear out of the ground. Yeah, I did the Gordy trinket one time. Shelly! Oh, Shelly! I am gonna grab... Ooh, there is an air horn right there. You'll be in my third. R&D's here. Roger's also here, so that definitely limits... Not limits, but... So that means... that this is the only 4 we got. Because R&D and Roger are both on the floor. I'm just a psycho babe, come and go out my mind. I didn't... You can maybe be backup? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, yeah. So we're at the point where it's 6 twisteds per floor now. Illusions, hallucinations, and lucid dreams. Know that meaning to me is such a pretty thing to keep, but I got facts and I'm not afraid to use them. Take a look at the bag. Gotta be that the nanamicable animal, mild-mannered cannibal. Let me die. Vice versa's virtue, and who I am to choose. Not doing if it rhymes, it's true. But I ain't pulling strings. Now with my moral compass pointing south, going down, I'm gonna run an R&D, so please be careful. I'm just a psycho babe, come and go out my mind. I didn't lose it, babe, there wasn't much to find. To buy everything in the shop, the skin shop. How much is it? Oh, wait, by the way, you only need 12,098 pumpkins? God damn. That's still a lot. And 4,900 ichor. Damn. Yeah, that's still a lot. Because I got all the tunes, and I think I'm gonna wait until the next, like next Friday when they have that update as well to see if there's a Louis skin. Hopefully there is a Louis skin. I'm really hoping on that. I'm just a psycho, babe. Yeah, I only have 2,000 something. That was fun. Goodbye. So how many floors has it been since you've been healed? Like when you were at 2. Because Gordy is... Actually, Gordy's 3,000. Gordy's 3,000, and then... Yeah, Gordy's 3,000. The Sprout and Cosmo skins are both 1,500. So it would be about 5,000, actually. No, it would be about 6,000. Oh, in the skin shop. Oh. I haven't healed unnecessarily, yeah. 6'9", guys. Oh my gosh. They were talking about you, and you need 2.4k ichor for... What? I forget I have my drink. I have hydration. Actually, 12,000 something. I don't know the exact number. I'm talking about Icar. Oh, you're talking. Oh, okay. Okay. Honestly, it'd be nice if I, not nice, but like, it'd be cool if I just go on, and like do like the TikTok live. Like how, Zero Byte does it. Oops, someone ran an R&D. Steel is kissing their head now. Stamina candy. We really love the stamina candy, don't we? Panic mode, warning. All the angels laughing down. All the angels laughing down. Girl, if you wanna play me, it's sad. Wanna girl, good. Just can never look wanna go. Look wanna go. Nah, not the first aid. Cause pretty girls deserve to die. Heel on floor. Let's be. I already know it's V. I already know it's Flutter. Oh, it's right here. It's a band-aid. Come on, Poppy. Where are you? That's Brusha. Y'all might want to hide for a second. Or not. There she is. Okay. I'm gonna distract over here, so if you guys find any, it's by the band-aid. Or if you guys find any twisteds, go to the band-aid. Oh, stupid ad. Because I've already I got Flutter, Poppy, Brusha, V, Tisha. I don't see anybody else. If you guys find any loose twisteds, just try your best to take them to me. No ghost. I don't know who it is. Oh, well, I'm chasing a ghost. I cannot see shit. So I'm chasing a ghost. Do I look like him? Oh, it is Boxton. Boxton was on the loose. Yummy. I think last time I got to, like, I distracted to floor 20 with Sprout, like, it was very difficult dealing with V because I didn't have Train Whistle. But now it's just chill. Yeah, I now have Boxton. He saw me and I was like, oh, Boxton was on the loose. Like him. Have you heard the song Where the Watermelon Rot? No, I have not. I'm fine. I like Box more. Chasing the ghost, do I look? Who's it by? Like him. Look. So do I look like him? Like him. I don't look like him. Like him. Yeah. I have not. Can't see shit. I have succeeded in life. Oh? Let's listen to this. It's all I see is creepy core / weird core. Oh wow. Nice. Again? We got 3 of them. There's a band-aid right here. Oh shit. I got Brusha. I got 4. I need 2 more. There's both a band and a med on here. Okay, I just need V. I shit you not, I just need to get V. Where the hell is she? Oh, there she is. I got Toodles right here. Yeah, I got Toodles right here. I think Toodles was the first one that I got. I'm gonna do a longer, circle. I like the bass in it. I've got both my headphones in now. I really like the bass in it. I can see why it's put in like a bunch of weird core / creepy core. It kind of gives like the eerie vibes. Okay. I also like how they have like the two voices at the same time. The way I heard you play the song while doing something, it will make the worse. What? Fucking what? Huh? The worst outcome happened and you told me this after? You told me this after I'm distracting? While I'm distracting? You told me this after I listened to it? How could you? How could you? You told me this after. Damn. Oh yeah, past couple streams you got... Don't you fucking dare. Don't you dare jinx that shit. No! Stop jinxing things, y'all! God damn! Oh my god. I think both of you guys are... No. You're gonna tell me some shit like, oh yeah, it's good. You're like, you're gonna die at 3 a.m. the next time you like hear that song, and I'm like, huh? It's just that. Just what? Just what? Just what? Just nothing else? What do you mean nothing else? Me nothing else. I'm concerned. I'm scared. Okay. Bruh. Going back to the stream playlist. No. No. Gordy again. Why can't do I remember existent the joy that forever locked away, la 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 locked away. Okay, I got Rebecca, Flutter. Shit, I think I lost Brusha. Bleeding. Watch out for Brusha, because I think Brusha's somewhere around here. Ring. Why do I remember? Do I remember? So non-existent. Oh wait, Connie's here actually, never mind. I just remembered, Connie's here. So just be careful of the machines. Locked away, la 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 la, locked away, locked away. Yep, there's Connie. On the outside. Don't knock it, they won't die. Watch out, he's gonna do it. Six up, five will come on my cup and go. Watch out. Whoopsies. Wiring to make the getaway to the jelly. Oh, how I know, how I go. Ask me a question, the answer I know. Yes or no. I only said that because it's a spooky month. Bruh. I'm striking resemblance, some kind of resemblance. You appear familiar, dear. You look just like my bathroom mirror. Please, policeman, know you're the town. Oh, please let me go. Please, policeman, is it a test? I won't know till I'm under arrest. You know, it's a song can't do anything. Yeah, but still. Don't be an ass. And be like, and don't jinx it. Too late to embrace your fate. May death come quickly and gently to you. May death crime mating and non-coming doom. You can say never. I think Cosmo might be lagging out. Oh no. Oh no. That's not good. Look just like my bathroom mirror. Please, policeman, know you're the town. Oh, please let me go. Please, policeman, is it a test? Oh, there they are. Have you ever heard in retail stores or like fast food stores where if you why is my dude, shush shush where if you say something about it being busy or not busy, a sprout in their laggy Cosmos. Oh geez. Policeman, is it a test? I won't know till I'm under. Please, policeman, know your toes. Oh, please let me go. Please, policeman, is it a test? I won't know till I'm under arrest. But, where if you say, hey, it's not that busy, it gets immediately busy. It's called jinxing. people do that as jokes too. It sucks. I've had that happen before, where one of the customers who was leaving was like, oh, it's not that busy today, and I just stare at them and I'm like, the fuck did you just say? The fuck did you just say? And then, at least you're not busy. Yeah. Better no warning? Okay. Whee! Oh, there's an air horn.
I'm full on band-aids.
Yeah, I literally cut my hair. I don't know exactly how the back looks. I'm scared to look at the back because it looks fine whenever I've got it like for work. Like it's a lot shorter now, which I like it like that. Because my hair was way too long. Like way too long. Ooh, by retracing my step. Oh, I put a spell on you. You're just wanting me to listen to Halloween music, are you? Oh, they're both just right there. I don't remember 2012, don't remember 2012. I need to find Poppy, so be careful. I've already got Finn. Okay, thank you. And I just need Poppy, I think. Because I got, well, no, there's 4. I only have 4. Brushes, Shrimpo, Finn, Boxton, Poppy, and one more person, I think. Hi, Poppy. Oh, Tisha. I was like, wait, Poppy wasn't running to me. Honestly, I need to watch Hocus Pocus again. I haven't watched it in a couple years because, like, I don't have, like, a TV or anything. It's literally just computer. But honestly, I should watch Hocus Pocus. Also, I'm gonna drop a heart just to use a band-aid. So that I can start getting more items for tapes again. Bum, 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 bum. I'd love to watch it once a year, but I just don't watch TV enough. Don't jinx that! Stop trying to jinx shit. Jesus. I don't remember how I got myself. I don't remember. Oh yes, words are very hard. I hate speaking words. They suck. I'm gonna avoid that one, but I will grab these 2 tapes. Are you fucking kidding me? What is it with y'all trying to jinx me? Literally, what is it with y'all trying to jinx me here? Because y'all realize, if we get all 3 of those, you 2 are in charge of feeding Gordy and staying with Glisten. Help you accidentally turned your phone off. Well, why would you do that? Honestly, I'm kind of thinking about, like, one day, maybe doing, like, a movie night. Like how, Lexi does. What just happened? Oh. I was like, what just happened? It was probably a little bit too many, symbols. Ko-Fi bot didn't, go off. They just got timed out because they put too many symbols. It's kind of strange that I've literally been streaming, like, technically I've been streaming for a little bit over a quarter of my life. Oh, it's timing them out because of the symbols. It's timing them out because of the symbols. They're doing the table flip and the shrug, and it's timing them out. Oof. Wait, when did I what? When did Indecisive leave the game? Au revoir. For what? For what? For what it's worth. If it was gonna kill you, boy, they would have by now. For what? For what? For what it's worth. There's no more looking back, it's looking up or looking down. Well, that one works. That one works. Just the little symbols. By the way, what is everybody's high floors? I think I ask this like every stream, but you know, it could change. It could change. 38, same. Dude, we all have the high floor of 38. Come on, Cosmo. You got this. We all have... You got 31. Because that one run... Was it because of... Wait, wasn't that on stream or something? Because we got to, like... I think I know I got to, like, floor 37 on one of the stream runs, but then I died. Yeah, yeah. Ugh. For what it's worth. If it was gonna kill you, boy, they would have by now. Give me all these tapes. Okay, I need one more. Because Roger's here. For what it's worth. If it was gonna kill you, boy, they would have by now. For what? For what? For what it's worth. There's no more looking back. But looking down. I've already got Louis. We are looking for one more Twisted. Where is this other Twisted? I got Brush already. Oh wait, it's Gordy. That's who it was. I forgot. What? Wait, what do you mean no, a different run? I forgot. So... By the way, chat, just so y'all know, if I ever open a P.O. box, guacamole Talkies. Guacamole Talkies. They are so good. I'm gonna... They're literally my favorite. The fuck you mean, ew? Oh. really eat regular Takis either, but guacamole ones, love them. Like, both my Jumo and I... I just breathed in Taki does. Both my Jumo and I love, guacamole Takis. Because I don't really like the other types of Takis, but guacamole ones? No. No. 2.3K pumpkins? No, fucking ad. Bro's pissed off now. Bro's like, no, the fucking ad. Man, why do all the good runs have to be like the joke runs? I'm not gonna lie, they are literally the joke runs. Let me know if y'all are, like, empty on items to feed him. Your ping? Oh no. I think with Sprout, honestly, me distracting as Sprout, I think my floor goal right now is just floor 30, maybe. Oh yeah, we've had Roger. Since when did we have Roger? Yeah, we have Roger and Gordy. No, I'll do it when you're finished. Oh my gosh. After you're done feeding that, I'd say start working on the last one. They're right here. Goofball. I come from scientists and atheists and white men who kill God. Dodge melody. Everything just like a daddy should. And you were beautiful and wonderful, vulnerable and oh, landed. Loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted to be you and still what'd you do? Nah, I can't talk. Shrimpo. I know it's Shrimpo. It's Shrimpo, Boxton. Huh? Fucking what? Oh, you motherfucker. I got it, I got it. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Thank you. You better run. Shit. Shit. There's so many air horns on this fucking floor, too. Yeah, I'm dead. I'm also dead. I mean... that's a high floor as Sprout as the only distractor. So, honestly, I completed one machine. There's one machine. Holy shit. Honestly, for a run as Sprout, that was good. Why is my kitchen light on? I got no clue why that's on. But as Sprout, we got pretty good RNG. Like, we got really good RNG. I'll probably do one more run. The last run's goal would probably be, floor 20. At, like, normal. But as Sprout and as the only healer... What? As the only distractor with a healer-only run. That is pressing Q. That was a good run. That was a really good run. I'm waiting for y'all. Oh, they got their death. Oh. Oh, that is a lot of lag. Holy shit. Dude, they were like seeing it like 2 frames per second, basically. Not 2 frames, but like, wait, let me actually, it's in the Discord, but that was their view. If I could, you motherfucker. Like, that lag. Holy cow. Like, Jesus. Holy cow. Oh. Oh, no. Ow. Okay. But, like, guacamole Takis, though. Bro's gonna ask if this is a run. Something is fishy. I think. Oh, they're not. How much should I get on the, Sprout Mastery, though? Oh, we completed. We literally... We only need to use our ability, like... Damn. That's pretty good. That's honestly pretty good. Because I think we started off with, like, 2, and then we, like, got the other things. Should we start a run? Oh, Eclipse is here. Oh my gosh, you're all the way... Oh my gosh! You're all the way back down to 142? God damn! Isn't there like a warning? Yeah, all pumpkin balances would be set to 0 after the Halloween event ends. Because they don't, carry over. I'm gonna go find Eclipse real quick. Where are they? I got no clue. I just realized Shelly's extraction speed kind of sucks. I just realized that. She's got the same as Louis, I think. Yeah, she's literally got the same as Louis. Except for the skill check being a little bit higher and the stealth being higher. That's wild. It looks like you have neck fur. It really does. It really does. Is that everybody, or is Eclipse joining in? I'm gonna try to... Wait, are they in here? They're like, yeah. Okay. Oh wait, you just, oh, I just saw that. I literally just saw that. I was like, where's the eclipse? What all, like, can I get anyways? I just have these two. I want there to be, I really want there to be a, another Louis skin, a Halloween Louis skin. I would love there to be a Halloween Louis skin. Oh. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, there is another. What would the Louis skin be? Oh yeah, the Headless Horseman. Like, that as Louis would be amazing. Oh! I'm gonna let y'all... Here you go. Y'all entertain yourselves and make a little play while I get more drink because this is empty, as you can see. I need to cook that turkey. What are they doing? Did anybody else join? I see Hello Rock Boy. Where are they? Where's Cough Cough Queen? Are they in here? They're not in here. Are they in here? You eat raw- oh. Where are they? You eat Ricks? Oh gosh. Oh. What? I eat crayons. Yeah, circle of join us. Circle of join us. Go into the room where it happened real quick. And do like a circle there. Circle around them. Wait, where's Cough Cough Queen? Come. 8 minutes. Oh yeah, we have like 8 minutes. Chat, spin when you hear me. Some of y'all have like more of a delay. Some of y'all have more of a delay. Oh gosh, there's 2 Eclipse. Who's who? Who's who? Who's who? Who is in chat? Who is not in chat? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. V looks like she's just standing there, like leaned against a wall, like that. Chat, are y'all ready for the last, like, probably the last run of the stream? Let's go to the Shellevator. We gotta wait for the others. Why is Flight's picture not showing? I don't know. Is that ready? I think we're missing someone. Where's Indecisive? Oh, there's Indecisive. I was like, I think we're missing someone. Okay, we got Goober, we got Indecisive, we got Suki, we got Stone, we got Eclipse. Get back over here. Get your ass back over here. Go in. We'll have to see, like, how far we get this time. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot! We just gotta go, thank you, Ko-Fi Bot! It's kind of broke. We're both broke. Are we gonna do dial floor? Let's try doing dial floor as early as we can, since I believe all of y'all... You literally are, it's creepy. Astro, like, that Astro skin in a blackout is actually creepy. I see Brightney. And there's Boxing 2. There's also a thing of jumper cables right here. Oh my gosh. That was very fast, actually. You thought you were safe from me? Nuh-uh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, I'm scared now. That's scary. I'm very scared. That's very scary. But hi, El Macaco. I have strawberry kiwi juice as hydration. And I have guacamole Takis as a snack. They're good. They're very good. I love guacamole Takis. I have drank coffee and now that is your problem. Oh gosh. I got speed! We got speed! There's a medkit right here. That girl, she... Watch out, Woody. Men can kill you. Every fight. It's like in one of the rooms. I need to find. Oh, it's Connie. Killer houses think they have the right. I listen to a lot of true crime. I listen to it at night. Yeah, you missed it. I distracted as Sprout for 27 floors and died to Pebble. I'm doing really good, actually. I died to Pebble floor 28 because it was a Pebble and a blackout floor, and they kept on trying to jinx us, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I would like a pool, please. Yippee! And then yesterday, I was actually in Bagel My Ego stream after my own stream. And we got to, I think we kept on getting to floor 20. Like, I think I actually got to a little bit past floor 20. Literally. But the other, like, the last run I did, it was literally all healers. Like, there was 6 of us. There was me as a Sprout. It was me as Sprout. And get your ass over here. Oh, I want the air horn. Because I kept on, we got jinxed last floor. But yeah, I was in Bagel's longest ever stream for like the last, I think, 4 hours. I have a band-aid, I have a med kit. I would like the air horn, but I don't have the room for an air horn. Sad times. I don't have the room, unfortunately. Oh my gosh, I'm used to being Sprout again. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be 32°C. How much is that in Fahrenheit? Sorry, I'm American. Hey Siri. How much is, oh wait, it's actually 0. Right? No, that's not. That's not. Hey Siri. Oh, you already said it. It's 89. Ooh. That's hot. That is very hot. Ugh. Listen to a lot of true crime. Oh, hey, there's a band-aid. And, ugh, humidity. Ugh. I think tomorrow for me, oh yeah, it's supposed to be raining all from Thursday to Sunday, and it's like, ugh. Ugh. Oh, you live near a river too? Ugh, that's even worse. Brusho! Oh, Brusho! Hello, Brusho! Oh. Ooh. Oh, Shrimpo! May God have mercy on your soul. Oh, gee. Where the fuck did Brusha go? Excuse me, where are you going? Get your ass back over here. There is. Ooh! There was a box of chocolates. Machines. Just do 32 times 1.8 and you will get Fahrenheit. You know what? I know it was the med kit, but I like to stay at 2. Hello. Thank you. You're drowning in heels? Oh, jeez. Too weird to love, too scared to die. Just like the healer run. Hey, that one got to 420. Oh. Hey, you might wanna wait a little tiny bit. Oob. Rebecca! Ow. Oh well. Get your ass back. Oh my gosh, Rebecca. 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 Thank you. Two ladies, two ladies, and I'm the only man here. I like it. She likes it. We like it. Hey, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Ooh. Oh. Oh. We should probably start saving the last, like, the closest for last again. You know? Yeah. We should. Dang, there's only 2 V-motors? Only 2 V-motors in here. Yeah. Cat almost knocked your chair over. Ooh. Oh my gosh, it's Shelly. Oi! 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 Tisha! Oh my gosh, it's wait, it's fossil cleaning. It's fossil cleaning! Not the ship. Yeah. It's fossil cleaning. found me. I didn't get to play. Inside my workshop, behind the old arcade. Electrical desires on my wires. We don't have a sprout. We did last run. On inside. Born to brain with 2 lungs electing change. And heart gently beeping. Oh, uh-oh. What do you mean thank you for answering late? Indecisive. Indecisive? What's going on with Indy? Oh, shit. Don't do last. Don't do last. That ain't good. Probably like I was Okay, let's not resort to cannibalism. It's just floor 6. Let's not we have enough food. Let's not resort to cannibalism. I was in their minds. Ooh. Let's not kill Indecisive here. Let's not kill Indecisive. I'm scared. If you're lying, you have to gift a sub. You have to gift a sub or subscribe. Oh, they are back to facing the right way. I need to examine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You can't win me. I can't be beat. I won't hurt you unless you cheat. Skill check. Yummy skill check. Human and half machine. Ba-ba-ba-da-da-da. Why does it look like he's wearing a maid dress? Like, from, like, right here, it kind of looked like he was wearing a maid dress. Sylvester. Extraction speed. Oh, it's Astro! Hi, Astro! Hello there. Who else is here? Ooh! Oh, it is Roger. Tee. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Don't pop Roger Rock. You, don't look at him. Don't see him. You don't see him at all. You don't see shit. Get to the elevator. Gordy, not this way! Gordy, not this way! Technically, I've been live for about, oh, Roger. Oh, Roger. And I'm like, gasping for the last of aerial trouble. Ah, yes, Goob thinks that this TV is wonderful. It's a wonderful addition to the elevator, you know? It's amazing. It is an amazing addition to this elevator. How much money do I even have anyways? Probably not that much. Like, I think last time I checked, yeah, I only had like... Oh, I only have like $30. Oh, I need to ask my Gmo if she could take my pizza bag. Is that Sprout? Oh my gosh, it is Sprout. So we had Shelly, Sprout, and then... Or we had Shelly, Astro, and then Sprout. 3 times in a row. I didn't see it. I was looking down. Like, I said that while I was in the, elevator, I think. Yum yum. Did I go wrong? A wise woman said I'm alive. Nobody's ever told her she's wrong. A pioneer of space talk and jazz. I'm as alive as her beard is long. I'll see you on the moon, where we're throwing a party. And as you're gasping for the last of air, you'll tra-la-la-la-la, twirling moon dust around. Your suit off and swim. And ah, yes, stamina to regen. After Astro had filled up my stamina. Yeah, we'll do. Good luck, guys. You got this. Passy, do not fail. Now that you've heard it all, there is the door. Okay, stamina regen. I can get these 2 without getting dial. Watch out, Gordy. I already got Louie. I need to find one more. Someone failed a skill check. Watch out, Gordy. Got him. Ah! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Did we make sure to save the closest to Ellie? Oh shit, I just realized, Indy's still Still AFK. Indecisive is still AFK. Dude, stop failing. Oh, they're back. Chill life. they woke up and they're in the dial floor. Not even a faint memory. No one knows your family tree. Who just died? Who was that? Who just died? It's okay. I wanna aggro dial. What? Don't do it. Oh my gosh, she's pissed off again. Y'all. Eclipse, you gotta stop failing, man. I'll throw in the book at those who don't do it by hand. So now I'm holding myself hostage. Yeah, you're too used to Gordy. Yeah, try not failing the skill checks. My dead high horse off the high road to low ground, 'cause if you shake your fist at snakes and grass, it looks like punching down. I know. Don't come at me. I'm the main character and you have to like me. Wait, you're not last? Is it because you died? Wait, did you actually die? Well, you can, oh my gosh! I look over, there's just a shit ton of mad kids. What have you done? God damn! What are you trying to do? Oh my gosh. I look over and there's just a crap ton of stuff just sitting there. You're sorting it? Make a summoning circle, oh my gosh. Make a summoning circle. Oh my gosh. I look over and you're just you're just there. By what my car shows, author becomes beyond reproach. Intact. Oh, Wonderland. Oh my gosh. What are you doing? You're sacrificing the can of pop? Oh my gosh. No, you don't see me. You don't see me at all. You don't see shit. There's a gumball over here, by the way, Bassie. There's some gumballs right here. Dopamine. But we all still get the flu. Oh. Oh. Behind you! I done a fucking thing to you. So God forbid I'm seen just as an average human being. I mean, imagine if antagonists just done it. Scheme. I'm that guy between a tragedy and comedy. Don't come at me, I'm the main character, and you have to like me. Oh my gosh. Get to the elevator, by the way, so it's like panic mode warning. Did you make a dick? Did you seriously just make a dick? Nah. Huh? What? The fuck? Ow. Sorry, Gordy. Well, I don't have my emergency band-aid anymore, but oh well. It's fine. We're fine. It's fine. I didn't even get any of his cat. Wait, you still don't have dial research? Dude, we lost 2 people. 2 people got moited. I see Poppy. I see Louis. Louis. And Sylvester. OMG, a med. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? What have you done with the med kits, dude? Ah, yes. Just med. Oh shit. Gordy distracting? Oh, hell yeah. Damn it! I guess you're just- I am lagging? No, not really. I'm not lagging, it's fine. Mary Kate and Ashley, I hope you understand that I love you a lot and I'll be your man, and I think really cool if I hang around your apartments and enrolled in your school. Oh gosh, I gotta see this whenever I get back over there. Oh, you saw me teleport? DoorDash on the way. Hey, yo. I want some DoorDash. I want my pizza. That scared the shit out of me. Thank you. I'm not like the DoorDash Twisteds, though. I don't want to have DoorDash Twisteds. Okay, what has she done? Oh my gosh. Where are you going? If all of us are here, who's doing the machines? Where's the last machine? Oh. It's adorable. Okay. La 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 la. You know, watch on your phone. All right. Honestly, yeah, it would be really useful if there was a sprout. Goober! Goobington! Skill check. Oh, hey, Sylvester. Oh. La 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 la. Oh, why this town without love? I guess you're wanting to distract now? Items have been sorted. Oh my gosh. Oh shit, I failed a skill check. You're gonna extract next floor? Okay. I guess we're like switching every 2 floors or something? If anyone wants to go trick-or-treating. It's like sorting the candy after going trick-or-treating, quite literally. Thank you. Stam regen. Driving with my darling. I want to see what you've done. Okay, you got the little candies right here. And you got the medkits behind the counter. You have a non-existent bowl of candy. Oh my gosh. But I think I'm a fool. I would like to buy a box of chocolates and a bottle of pop. Can I have a box of chocolates? I don't have that yet. Oh, I would like to manager. You guys should have everything in stock for your loyal customers. I'm a loyal customer. I have bought every single thing. Also, and no one mentioned. I am such a loyal customer that, like, I've been here since you first opened. Forever, if we could. I want to talk to your manager! Oh, there's a box of chocolates, but I got a medkit. I have a medkit instead. I'm going to Danny's dance in first place now! We need to make like a comic. A box is not in stock. Oh my gosh, what is that voice crack? Slot. Oh, there's a band-aid over here too. Forever, if we could. Driving with my darling. With my darling. I need to find Brusha. If we could. Driving with my darling. Faster than I should. Driving with my darling. Where the fuck is Brusha? Is she over here? Oh, there she is. Yippee! Why do tacos have to be so hot? What do you mean? What do you mean, why do tacos have to be so hot? Huh? Hold up, I'm gonna call my aunt and be like, yo, you're on stream right now? Actually, I'm gonna mute. She didn't answer. I'm trying to see if she can bring me my pizza. Meds sold. Get to elevator. Please get to the elevator. What's the elevator? It's the elevator. Whee! I have speed. Wow. Oh. Huh? How did you miss that? How did you miss that? Okay, why is my ear so itchy? No hugs for Goob. Yeah, how did you miss that? How did you miss that? Something is fishy. Oh, Brusha, Rebecca, I've already got those two. We should have 4 now, I think? I don't know. Oh my gosh. I love it. Got a shotgun in my pocket. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Bassie's shop is now better than Dandicus Dancifers. There's also a machine like right over here. I'm gonna go check on the shop, guys. Where she decided to set up shop. Where's Bassie decided to set up shop? What? Set up shop. Oh my gosh, it's all lined up. Oh my gosh. You got the Bassie with the whole entire shop, bro. Oh. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. You got the whole shop lineup. Oh my gosh. There's some, like, stamina stuff right here. Do you have 1,400 bottles of pop? Oh. Oh no. 6-7. Why'd I say it in that voice? 6-7. Oh! Oh! No. Don't go that way. Just the Mickey Mouse. I'll come and go, was waiting for the world to end. Now that the truth is just a rule that you can bend, you crack the whip, shape shift and trick the past again. Send you my love on a wire, lift you up every time, everyone, ooh, pulls away, ooh, from you. Stamina regen. Yummy. Oh, hey guys, there's stealth candy. I wish you could just keep stuff in the elevator, honestly. Like, especially if you were Bassy, like, you could have, like, a whole entire elevator, like, inventory, I guess. Or, like, you could sell something to Dandy. Literally. Ellie Shop 2.0. Oh, it's Glisten. Hi, Boxton. Hi, Brusha. Just a rule that you can bend. You crack the whip, shape shift and trick the past again. Send you my love on a wire, lift you up every time, everyone, ooh, pulls away, ooh. Watch out, Gordy! Gordy! Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Gordy, watch out, bro! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! I guess you're... Oh. You missed. I guess I'm extracting this round. Oh shit, I forgot about Glisten. Fine, here you go. Oh my gosh, it's the twink. He's a twink. Oh my gosh, it's the twink. It's the twink. Holy shit. Is this where you've done shop? Oh my gosh. Oh, I wish I could give you one of the meds. Because I have no use for my med. I love band-aids instead. I don't want to be alone. Instantaneous death. Yes. Bassy armored. I don't have Bassy, unfortunately. Because I couldn't play the Easter update. Sadly. Lift you up every time, everyone is away from you. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Fill up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I never wanted to sleep. Shop closed for the floor. Oh no. Goob is on, I think, second to last. 6, 7. Ah! Shit! Oh my god. Thank you. Oh my god. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. I was standing there. I was standing there. Like, I literally was stretching. You came in there, and then, like, I got hurt and scared the shit out of me. Jesus. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna grab Glisten. Ow. I got Glisten, I got Glizzy, I got Glizzy, I got him! I got Glisten. I had him! I had Glisten! Oh my god. I had him! Ooh, hound inside and bound. I wish it told you, like, what you didn't get. That would be cool. It would be kind of funny, but, like, it would have been like, just lost medkit. Oh my gosh, it's R&D and Finn and Sylvester.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi, you just been in this VC the whole
Yeah,
time.
I have. I forgot to leave.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. I'm at floor 15 right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I literally distracted to, like, floor 27 as Sprout. And Bassie keeps on opening, like, a shop every floor, and it's so funny. Come on, Sylvester. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, I guess. Can't complain.
Ah. Yeah, the floor 27 run that we had today in stream, I kid you not, we were all healers. Like, all of us.
Nice.
It was me, like, 3 Cosmos, and 2 Gingers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the only ones that actually survived to floor 27 was me and 2 Cosmos.
Nice, nice.
Ah! Suffering because people kept healing you? Oh, yeah, yeah. So Stone had, Gordy's trinket, and so they were like the radar, but they ended up, like, you know,
yeah.
they kept on getting hit, or they kept on getting healed, And so it was kind of funny because they had to like all you could hear was just Cosmos healing each other, or like all the healers healing each other, and they couldn't go like 5 floors without getting a heal again.
Great.
Boop. Where's Goob?
Gone.
Goob's coming. Honestly, I think I did a pretty good job on cutting my own hair again. Like, it's at the length that I want it, and that I like it to be.
Nice.
Yeah. I think maybe after this run, I'm probably gonna go, get something to eat. Blott's here!
Have you not eaten this whole entire time?
Not really.
Bruh.
Oh, there's an air horn.
Trust me, I'm hungry too, but they're doing a Bible study right now, and I don't want to, like, interrupt.
Oh. Hi, Shrimpo.
No food for me.
Oh.
For now.
Yeah, I was wanting to, I was trying to call my aunt to see if she could bring my pizza back over, because I have a habit of accidentally leaving food at their house. And I got, like, a chicken Alfredo pizza, and, like, I'm really wanting that.
That sounds so good.
I'm
that
really
so
wanting
good.
that. And I also got, like, cheesy
good.
bread. Because it's from, like, a more, like, local business. And I'm like, I would very much like my pizza.
Your pizza, your pizza.
Yeah. I'm gonna try calling my Gmar real quick.
Did I give Bagel a gift? I can't give Bagel a gift. I'm on Sky right now. Cause me and we're gonna go play some Sky. We were supposed to do that yesterday, but then they streamed, and then yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go leave again. Have fun.
Alright, have fun.
Bye, I'm gonna get me some food too. Maybe.
Damn, I can't get my pizza. I can't get my pizza. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, Gordy's here? Wait, Gordy's here? Oh shit, that's Blot. Oh, I was like, what? Your supply is depleting. Your supply is definitely, like, depleting. They ate the candy. Okay, you can't take these. Can or can't? Where am I? Oh, that's Blot. Thank you. For you. One of us is going to need to die. Technically, I've been live for at least, like, 4 to 5 hours, I think. I am starting to get kind of, like, tired and hungry at the same time. And I need to, like, clean off, like, my entire... I need to clean my entire kitchen. And, like, do my dishes, because... I let them get bad. Forgot you put your... Oh, you got kicked for your 20 minutes. Oh. Ooh, ooh! Don't fucking try to hit me. Whee! You just see Gordy. Wow. What do you mean you left the child? What if I just, like... Honestly, I was kind of tempted to give myself a mullet, but then I was like, I look... God damn it. Hi, Connie. Hold up. And I'm dead. I found out that my pizza most likely got eaten. My pizza most likely got eaten. Also, thank you, Kof. I bought my pizza, though. That I bought. And accidentally left at my Gma's house. Got eaten, apparently. It most likely got eaten. I found that out. Now I'm like, ugh. What was I? I just started pushing buttons. Nope. Ah, yes. Stone is Twisted Flutter, guys. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and raid and mourn the loss of my pizza. And depending on the time, I might just go get like a new one, maybe. I don't know. Let's find someone to raid real quick, because I am kind of starting to get, like, I am getting pretty hungry and tired. So... let's find somebody. Yeah, my pizza, they, like, I called her, she called me back, because, you know, and, like, she's just like, oh, I think Apple ate it, and I'm like, what? What? Oh. Let's raid you. Anyways, you guys are rocks, by the way. So whenever you get into the raid, you guys are gonna you're gonna say rock raid. I hope y'all have a nice day, night, whatever time it is for you. Be cool, be safe, be nice, to the raidee. Get some sleep, get some good sleep. Don't do what I did last night, and, you know, um, you know. But yeah, you guys are rocks, so it's a rock raid. Anyways, I'll probably be back maybe tomorrow, and then probably the next day. Tomorrow, I might do... I'm gonna try to see if my computer will be able to handle Bedrock, or not Bedrock, Minecraft, Bed Wars.